Good morning, Facebook viewers. Good morning to all viewers who are taking the time out on this rainy Saturday morning to, tune in and get some reality, some truth. Um, this is what this is about, truth. Before I start, click like, subscribe, and before I even begin, I should have said thank you. Thank you to the new viewer who subscribed to the channel. Click like, share. There's a lot of stuff on the playlist that we can all get something from. But the one thing and the one content that I will continuously do is bring truth. And truth is something a lot of people can't handle. Truth is something a lot of people can't take, because truth, sometimes, most of the time, if it's true truth, it makes a person look from within themselves. A lot of people don't like to do that. So thank you to the new subscriber, and like I said, you're all welcome here. So that's why I use the word we, because we are in this together. I did a video, and this is why this video is entitled "A Message to Black People," but all people should listen in. But the message is directly directed towards black people. And one of my earlier videos, a lot of the videos that I did, the ones that didn't get as many views, they're all speaking of things that are happening right now. So what I was trying to say about this channel is, by knowing truth, you don't get it right away. It doesn't happen just to say, hey, this is what a person says, so it's true. It doesn't happen that way. It's events. You get knowledge, and then a situation will arise, and then those things click, and you're like, okay, now I understand how these things apply. Well, I did a video. It was entitled that protesting doesn't work, and in that video I had discussed going and being a part of that George Floyd. And I'm not saying Black Lives Matter, because I wasn't a part of Black Lives Matter. I was just a black man seeking justice for black people. So, and we get that part straight. But you say, what does this have to say with what you're saying today? What does that have to do with now? And how did what you said back then play out into now? And the way it played out is, if you go back, and which I encourage everyone to do, some of the lesser videos with the lesser views, if you go back and then you see what's happening today, and you say, wow, he was talking about it back then. Now we understand. But it's not a fault of our own, because like I say, a lot of us are manipulated. So, we're so busy with everything else that we live in constant fear and economic insecurity, which keeps us running. So then, people come into play. They speak for us. They fight for laws for us. They fight for rights for us. Everything except us having the time to say, hey, can I question you? You got time to answer a couple of questions? And we don't do that until it hits the fan. Things hit the fan. But to go back to the protest in which I attended, if you go back to the video, I was saying that, I traveled, and we had to travel because at the time you weren't able to go state to state. And I'm going to give you the commonalities of what happened on this, I believe it was the 6th at the White House. I'll give you an insight, hand in hand, two different protests, but what the people are saying, they're correct. I'm going to tell you what happened at the protest for, that I had attended. Well, the protest that I had attended, we had to leave, and we had to leave like, it was like secretive. We had to leave. But again, what those protesters today are saying and what was back then, we didn't pay to go there. There were things that were set up for us to go. So we already knew that there was a hidden agenda behind everything that we were doing. So when people say that they went to this rally not expecting for it to be peaceful, that's a lie. Because I'm telling you how I felt, and other people in the videos from that insurrection are telling you how they felt. So there was a known thing that things could go south. So getting there, now we got there. Now there's a couple of things that we really need to look at. because the similarities are the same. And this is what I've been trying to say, that everyone, all of you, all the people out here, we're all being played against one another. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican. I don't give a damn if you're a Democrat. I don't give a damn if you're white. I don't give a damn if you're purple. I don't give a damn if you're green. We are all being played against one another. And by doing this, we fight one another. We divide one another. We oppress one another. And who's getting rich from this? Who's getting rich? And then when someone comes along and they say, oh, well, you know, it's this country, blame this country or blame these people. Wait a minute, you're the one that's getting rich. You're the one that's getting rich. You profited from this. And this is the question. These are the questions in 2021 we have to stop being blind to. But now we're going to go back to the protest. So, get there. Now everything is being set up. You know, people, they want you to hold signs and, hey, go over to this truck, you know, they got signs, and, you know, they'll put everybody into certain groups, and a person will lead the group. Now, went through all that process, wasn't carrying no sign, because like I said, you know, the people that I came with were the people that I came with. We weren't a part of any of that stuff. So, we get up to where, you know, the front line, where everybody's protesting. Everybody's like, you know, hey, you know, we want justice, no peace. Okay, understandable. What made me leave, and I'm going to say what happened, but I'm also going to say what else happened, because there was something else that happened that people need to know about. And maybe for the people that ran into this same type of situation, you know, put your stuff in the comments, because I would like to hear it, especially if it was a protest that was far different from either of the two protests I'm speaking about now. So we get to the front line of the protest, and, you know, everybody's no justice, no peace. But what opened my eyes throughout all the chaos that was happening, because eventually it turned violent, throughout all the chaos, I'm looking, before the chaos began, and I'm looking at this person, and he's standing like maybe 20 feet away from me, and he's pointing into the person's shield, but literally taking his finger and poking the guy's shield. But there was a bulge on his side. This dude had a gun. I'm sorry to use the word dude, but I'm speaking to you in real terms, so I'm using real words. Had a bulge on his side, and I said, that's a gun. You know, anyone who's seen guns, been around them, you understand what you're looking at. I'm like, this is a gun. They're looking right at this gun. You know, if you're a cop, you're trained to do this stuff. So out of all those people in the front line, nobody looked down and say, yo, hey, grab that guy. He's got a gun. You know, let's find out if he's got a permit to have that, because we could be in danger. None of that never happened. So when I saw this, it was like everything stopped. Everything stopped, and everything was in slow motion. And as I'm looking around in the crowd, I'm seeing more and more of this. That there were people that just didn't, it was almost like they stuck out like sore thumbs. And the first thing that came to my mind was, these guys are cops. That's just how we are, because, you know what I'm saying, we've dealt with them, so we understand pretty much how they look. Not to say that it was, just to say that that clean-cut appearance and what it was that was going on, they did not fit what was going on. So now I can agree with the people who were at that protest, at the protest that took place at the White House. I can agree with them to say that there were people there that should not have been in that crowd, mixed in that crowd. But what if those same people were at the Black Lives Matters protest that caused a lot of the insurrection and the uprisings and the rioting? What if there were people in both parties, and as well as White House, as well as the protests in New York City? And these are the people that are causing the confusion that comes in with both everything that's going on right now, that there's lying and everything. But we have to remember, you know, there's two different wings, right wing, left wing, one bird. One bird. So the bird is dirty. You can't turn around and say, hey, we're just going to fly with one wing on a bird. It's not going to fly, nor the other. So the only thing that's going to fix America is for the American people to put aside their egos, put aside their differences, and sit down and talk real dialogue, because you are not going to inherit this earth. No race has done it. No race has conquered a land and accomplished this, because any land you go into, you're going to find people of different races within that land. You just are. And the places where you're not going to find that is because those people have been pushed out of those lands, and they are not welcomed into the land. But eventually they will. It's just a matter of time, because the world is growing, so it's not going to stop. But now I want to go back to bring you back to the protest. So now I see this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And it was like, how are you going to get home? I didn't care. But at that time, I said I would never do that again. I would never go back out and speak on behalf of people, and there's some undermining stuff that's going on in it. And this is what we're faced with all too often. But now, excuse me, it's the way out. So you say, okay, you saw this. You didn't want to be a part of this violence and everything else that was taking place. You say, okay, now you want to make your way out. Making my way out was harder than it was getting in. So in order to leave something that was already turning violent, it was hard to get away, because everywhere you went, you were almost like roadblocked to go back in, to go back in. So, when I look at the video of what was taking place at the White House, you're going to see, different people that were caught into these things. But at the end of the day, no matter if it's a protest for, rights, or if it's a protest for justice, we have to realize that it's us, the people. It's us, the people. Hate cannot be promoted unless we condone it. Jealousy cannot be promoted unless we condone it. Violence cannot be condoned unless cannot be promoted unless we promote it. So, it's up to us to start to begin to promote things that are of quality. And lastly, I want to leave you with this. If you watch a movie, and in that movie, the person is running around and they're killing people and, raping people and, abusing people and, doing all different types of immoral, activity, and we watch it, we say, hey, that's a good movie. So I want to leave you with this. Why do we feel so in shock and so bad when it happens in real life? So, we promote it, we help promote it, we help condone it, we watch it, and then we sympathize with it. And what I'm leaving everyone with today is to say, wake up. The best way for growth is to sit back and say, hey, I've been lied to. And that goes, forget about politically, it goes for you as a person, for us as people. We can't change, we cannot grow until we sit down and have, that one-on-one discussion and say, you know what? I think I might have been a little bit brainwashed, and then, the only time we ever come to that conclusion, most people, is like in a relationship where, they spend so many years with the person and find out the person never cared two craps about them. And then at the end, you're like sitting there and you're feeling bad about yourself, and then you're like, oh, I can't believe, I let myself be, manipulated. Well, those aren't the only people that are doing the manipulation. You know what I mean? So let's all try to, wake up to this. Let's all try to wake up to understand that we're being played against one another. We are being played against one another, and the puppet masters know it, because the puppet masters have wealth, and that wealth promotes false ideals. And as long as those ideals enrich, they'll let you believe whatever you want, anything that you want. And when you have propaganda that propagandizes, pushes things down our throats, the movies that we watch, the way that they portray women, and that's another thing. I'm going to go all over the place, but that's another thing. We have to say to ourselves, a woman who says, oh, I want to be respected as a woman, but yet and still, what I'm saying, you're watching these movies and, you're seeing over the phones that they're sending, porn to our children. And then, as these kids grow up, and then they're mistreating women, and we sit back and we say, that person's in front of a court of law, And he says, well, hey, look, this is what I've been watching in these movies. And we're seeing it play in so many different areas of it's okay to put it in movies. It's okay to put these things in videos. It's okay to discuss these things on the news because it's up to you as the person has the right to differentiate between right and wrong. And I'm trying to wonder about this. Then why are they calling a lot of the stuff that's doing this reality TV? Reality means real life TV. So even though it's scripted, so you're telling someone to look beyond and look past. Kids aren't born with, you know, uh, brains that sit back and can think outside the box. That's just not something to happen. And then you say, well, it's up to the parents. No, it's not. Your parents cannot sit there. That TV is running 24/7. You say, well, it's up to the parents to turn it off. It's up to the parents to monitor. But who's shoving it? Who's shoving it for you to have this battle? When a parent should be focused on work, jobs, providing for their children, making sure that their children get a proper education, as well as putting food and shelter, providing food and shelter for the family. That's the dynamic of a family. Then you insert and say, well, it's up to the parent, so to monitor, you throwing so many things at a parent that you're going to slip it in. And the thing is, propaganda, social media, you know this. You know this. So, but people who are out there who see this video, educate yourself. Educate yourself to what's really, really going on. And as far as taking side for any type of movement that is out there, taking a stance for a movement, you have to also realize that within those movements, we saw who's inside of different various movements and how the outcome can be. We saw it displayed all over. The whole world got to see this. You know what I mean? So, open up our eyes and let's, try to make the world a better place in 2020. Stop sitting there, listening and letting these people who come over your TV screens tell you how to think, tell you what to believe, tell you what to stand behind. Pull yourself away from all this. Have a one-on-one with yourself, have a one-on-one with your family to sit back and say, you know what? Imagine if the world was all of just us. Would hate go away? Would jealousy go away? It'd say all races, just, I'm going to say for me, just my family. If my family, or if your family, now just say your family is on this earth, no other people around, no other races around. So you have full reign and you have children, and those children are all you, all the same color, speak all the same language. Will there be hate? Will there be murder? Will there be violence that we have today? So none of this stuff makes any sense at the end of the day. We're making sense out of things that make no sense. So, we have to get away from it. And the way that we get away from it is to, take that time to self-reflect. But I just wanted to share the fact with you today that, the difference between these protests, that there were, there's too many similarities in what the supporters, and again, this is not a political video because I vote Democrat, I vote Republican, I voted for whoever is best for that office. So I'm not just one-sided. So I feel that I do have a right to speak in this sense because I vote both ways. I vote for who is best for the job, who's going to do right by the people. So once more, take that time. Take the time to really, really look at what's going on. Take the time to ask yourself some serious questions. And, the answers are simple. And when we close our intellect, when we close down the intelligence that we have to see what's really, really happening, we choose to stay blind to it, or we just, hope for the best and walk with blinders on. As long as I don't, look at things one way or another, as long as I'm like this, everything will be okay. Well, this is why we're here today. It's not because of the people who are from far right or from far left. They were always there. It's because of the intermediate people like us who walk like this. while all the other stuff was going on in the background. So again, know what you're standing up for, know what you're fighting for. And the only fight that I'm going to ever be a part of is to fight for all people, all races, all over the world, not just here. Because even people in other countries, they're all being played. The systems that they're using right now is part of a program. And that program will run, generation, generation, generation. And it's the same old program that they've been running since the beginning. And I did a video on that too. That the only people who think things are different is the average person that you're seeing today. But these people believe in the same old philosophies from thousands and thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. And some of them serve the same gods from over 5,000 years ago. So when we think that things are gone and things are changing and things are in the past, we got to open up our eyes. So before anyone goes out there, runs out there to stand up for any type of protest or anything else like that, be aware of what you're really standing up for. The best thing that we can do as people is to vote. Vote, as well as write a letter to your representatives and voice how you feel. At least you've done something. But as far as like media, movies, and reality TV and everything else that we're watching, unless that doesn't start to change, it's going to be even worse, because they're pointing out about the chaos that's going on in the world, but yet and still they're not doing anything to curb the things that they're showing to our children, showing to the nation, and promoting things that are going to cause chaos, because it's ratings, it's power. As long as I can keep you hooked, as long as I can keep you in fear, as long as I can keep you oppressed, you're going to have to keep coming to me for the answers. And all the answers are in each and every one of us. We can all be good people. It's not hard to do. It's harder to do evil than it is to do good, because evil constantly has to cover its tracks. Where good, you can sleep well. You can live life well. You don't have to worry about if a person is offended or if you've done this or this. No, because you're always trying to be the best person you can be. But by being the best person you can be, if a person does come up with some extreme types of views, they know that you're going to be honest to tell them, hey, look, this is not, you can feel this way, but that's not correct. That's not the way life goes. And I can't condone something like that. And walk away. A lot of us don't, because we're afraid to offend a person and sit there and say a person's views might be kind of off the wall. But remember, people who point views out there at you, they're just doing that just like what you see every day. They're seeing that to see what your response is in order to see if they can get away with doing it. So what we saw happen on a national stage is only a dry run. We look at that as the actual event. No, that's not the actual event. That's a dry run. That's to get us to be conditioned to know that this can happen. So when it really does happen, people will either join or people will turn around and be oppressed, and the lines will be drawn. So don't think that this is something that's not going away. This is something that's here, and in some ways we have to be thankful. Because how long can we continuously live in delusion? How long can we continuously live with a lie? So I want everyone to get stronger, everyone to have a beautiful day, everyone to know that they have the power to create change, and that change starts with themselves. So hopefully, everyone can get something from this, and, again, know what you're getting into when you're walking into a protest, or you're making a stand, or you're speaking out. And stay, even though you may speak out on a situation, or as a part of a movement you may speak out, then speak out on that. But for everything else that's going on around it, don't allow things to attach itself to what you're bringing to the table, what you're trying to get across. Don't allow other things to latch themselves to it. And we're finding out that happens a lot. Or in where I mean latching to it, I'm talking about outside movements within a movement. So with that, everyone have an awesome day. And everyone out there is beautiful. Everyone out there has something to offer life and to offer this world. It's up to us to turn around to know this and to apply this to our lives. Even if we don't receive it in return, at least we've extended, you know, we extended ourselves in that matter to help others. Not everybody's going to want your help, but, don't allow that to make you fall into line and say, hey, well, if everybody else is doing it, I'm going to do it. We're not going to do that. We're going to continue to be our best people, to live our best lives, to stand for what's right, and, to be that way all the time. Not put on many faces, just one face. Right now we got too many faces all over the place. So I'm rambling, but I like spending time with you guys. I wish, one day, well, now hopefully we'll have group discussion, which is something that's going to be coming up. So have an awesome day. Have a peaceful day. And with that, everyone, peace and blessings.